Human of unknown origin detected. Designated outsider. This is an undisclosed secret location. Please identify purpose or depart. Outsider is not part of plan. End of inquiry. Acknowledging receipt of emergency request. Explanation deemed acceptable. Clearance granted to Crucible. Outsider will deliver 150 units of copper. Compensation will be dispensed.
Tobias, stand down. We have a visitor.
Reminder, deliver required material. End of conversation.
This is incredible. For so long we hoped for any visit, and the day has finally arrived. Oh dear, that's a surprisingly tricky question. I'm probably not the person to answer it, but it is a genuine pleasure to meet you. We see no one, ever. Your arrival is truly an historic one, but many fear what it portends. The societies have closed their doors and are arguing about what to do, while the rest hide to see which way the wind blows. Franklin would know what to do. He's the oldest among us. You should talk with him. Most of us are like me, free and unaligned. But there are three societies that are oft at odds with one another. The Believers, the Pragmatists, and the Renegades. It would be wise to meet each of them. Franklin leads the Pragmatists. Crucible is a tinderbox, and any spark will set it off. We're still recovering from a deadly conflict that happened 3 years ago. Far fewer of us are here to greet you today because of it. Give it time, and I'm sure the others will come out. For curiosity's sake, if nothing else.
When your ship landed, I feared the robots would shoot you on sight. I am greatly relieved that they let you enter our community. But you come during a delicate time. Everyone will seek to use your arrival to further their own ends. You ask a question you already know the answer to. Yes, of course. I have need of you. But if you have a good heart and a quick mind, I am sure you will see my point of view.
No, we most certainly do not. Our relationship with them is a matter of some debate.
Where to begin? Maybe an introduction? I am Franklin Delano Roosevelt, leader of the Pragmatist Society.
Well, it is gratifying that even after all these years, my name isn't entirely forgot. You see, I was an American president. Well, not literally, but in a sense I was.
Everyone that lives here are clones. Some of us are clones of the greatest figures of history, and others, well, we don't rightly know.
When we die, and some of us die quite often, we are brought back.
I cannot imagine how strange this must sound to an outsider. Not at all. I have had occasion to see death more than anyone. When someone dies, all they have accomplished here in Crucible, all of their deeds, thoughts, are gone. And when they come back, they are different, modified. The Believers say they are improved. Being reborn can take years, sometimes over a decade. But everyone comes back.
Now there is the question, isn't it? I do not have FDR's memories, but I know every nuance of his life and times.
Well, as much as history records. I confess, I feel an undeniable affinity towards him. But no, I am my own man. But not all of us see it that way.
I could see how confusing this may be, even frustrating. But if it's any consolation, many of us feel the same, and we live here. After decades, centuries, of trying to figure it out ourselves, there is so very much we don't know either. The robots clone us for a reason, their so-called mission. But what that is, and what we should do about it, is something the societies disagree about. Sometimes violently. It's best you meet with the other societies, and after, I promise I'll explain the pragmatist's position on matters. Well, it is one of the few concrete things we know about Crucible. If you want to truly know about the mission, the Believers will tell you all about it. In fact, it can be hard to get them to stop talking about it. After you meet with them, I'll share my position. Please do.
Word has been sent, so the street should be full again. There is more I would talk with you about, but I would not take advantage of your ignorance. Go speak with the Manirinas and Genghis Khan.
Welcome to town, stranger. Consider me part of the welcoming committee. The name's Wyatt Earp, and I'd be most pleased if you'd use one of the spare rooms during your stay. For a modest fee, of course. He was, and I try to be. I do the best I can to uphold the law, but the societies make that difficult. I expect I've had as much success restraining Genghis as the Chinese did. I do what I can. Roosevelt and I are both of the same mind on that. I'm for whatever side wants to keep the peace. It means that the pragmatists and I are often on the same side of things, but you might be surprised the number of times I've had to ask some of them to back off some nonsense. I can work with that. Well, I hope you enjoy your stay. And by the by, I may have access to some essentials I've picked up over the years. Happy to sell them to you. It runs hot and cold. During usual times, it's an occasional scuffle. Maybe a black eye when an argument gets out of hand. And then a society goes on a rampage and it's tombstone all over. I hope your arrival keeps things on an even keel.
I had hoped you would visit me. Good. Know that you stand before Queen Amanirinas of the Kush, queen of a dead kingdom on a dead world. But I earned my name, and even the sands of time cannot take it from me. In truly ancient times, my land lay south of Egypt, a harsh country. History is enamored of my contemporary Cleopatra, but she would have withered and died had she tried to rule my land. Your courtesy is appreciated, even though it rings hollow. My subjects are all dust. If you don't believe me, know you are not alone. Some clones deride me behind my back. I know this, but I feel in my bones that I am a Manirinas for true. The great and the terrible. To those who would oppose me, I remember things no one has told me. Memories of faces, betrayers, lovers, allies, and enemies. And the smells. The right scent. And I close my eyes. And I can picture all of it. So vividly. It aches my heart. My home. My kingdom. Have you no faith of your own? Something you hold to, even though it cannot be proven. It is the same with me. But I am certain. You speak to a Manirinas, reborn, If your mind and heart remain open, you will see the truth of it. Once, I called upon mighty armies. However, on Crucible I still lead. Have you heard of the Believers? Have you heard of the mission? We are the ones who will take our rightful place in these settled systems to bring in a new, glorious age and break the endless cycles of oppression and greed. You are skeptical. My advisors thought the same when Augustus Caesar stood unbeatable at Cush's border. I made war against the mighty Romans. I took their cities and fought them to a draw. No other king or queen can boast of that honor against that famed Roman. And that's just me. Some of the greatest lions of all ages are awaiting rebirth. What are bureaucrats, petty politicians, and lawyers against that? So many scoff at the mission. Before we are reborn here, there are words all of us are told. That we are the chosen. We are meant to better ourselves. To learn, grow, and thrive. All of us represent the greatest figures in our history. Who better to lead the settled systems to a new golden age? If we could do it ourselves, we would have, years ago. I do not care if you think my plan is insane. But what I want, what we want, is a chance to prove to the facility we are ready. When someone has achieved their potential, the facility is supposed to set us free among the stars. But the machines have been breaking more and more over the years. And no one has ever been deemed worthy. I need your help to properly fix the facility so that we can prove ourselves and claim our birthright. The facility is another place on this very planet. A place we cannot go. As much as we dream of it. Surely someone, anyone by now would have learned the lessons the facility sought to teach. No, the machines have not aged well. The crises break upon our beach, each one greater than the last. I need you to go to the facility. The robots and what drives them is not here. The facility is where they come from. Somewhere far to the east. None of us can travel there. But you can. Go there, please. And see if the facility can be repaired. Then report back to me.
The man from the stars. Come to see me. And you're not afraid to get your hands dirty. I guess the world out there is not so different than here. Genghis Khan, a pleasure to meet you. Manners cost me nothing. But make no mistake, I will do whatever it takes to escape this prison. I am pleased that the dangers out here are of no concern to you. You cannot be fully human if you trap yourself behind walls. I would provide fresh meat for my society, so we don't get fat off the robots. Franklin and I see eye to eye on very little. But even he appreciates this. And I always hope to see some means of escape. Perhaps our luck has finally changed. The robots taught me many things any Mongol would know. So, hunting game, even such as this, is little challenge to me. So Franklin told you of us. Oh, that we're clones. Some of us think that makes us special. That the deeds of our namesakes are somehow ours. But that is blind arrogance. We are just people. Same as you. Same as anyone. None at all. It is as if I were a student of his life and times from an early age. I know so much about him, but that doesn't mean I am him. I am me, and I am content with this. I never really thought about that. Surprising indeed. But all this talk gets us nowhere. Too many of the others grovel at the feet of the damned robots, trying to play their roles in a broken game. The renegades will not submit, and one day, we will be free. I do not know. Everything outside of Crucible is unknown to us. I imagine the settled systems are not so settled that a man who does not shrink from violence can't make a place for himself, though. A prison of the mind and the body. Crucible holds out a throne and says, "Obey, and it is yours." But thrones are meant to be taken, not handed to you by a machine. But it is a tantalizing lie that keeps the others in line. Were it that easy, I have died a dozen deaths trying to find a way out of Crucible. You get too far or disobey too much, then death. Crucible holds our lives in its hands. But now, the robots have made a grave mistake. You can go where none of us can. You hold our future in your hands, and all the societies know it. Oh yes, you can go 1 or 2 miles from Crucible, and you drop dead. I have no knowledge of medicine, but it's probably poison. It boils my blood to be subjugated like this. But too many of the clones are sheep. As long as their pens are clean and comfortable, they bleat their arguments. I sense fire in you. Good. You will need it. You know of the facility, yes? Go there, and make the machines let us leave. It is not much to ask, and it will set us free.
So, you have heard from the other societies.
I must confess I'm very curious what an outsider thought of them, and their positions. You might be the first objectively neutral party we've ever come across. A very diplomatic approach.
The facility has gathered some of the most obstinate and dangerous personages throughout history. It has told them that they should lead in a golden age via whatever means they see appropriate. Setting us all loose and Parda as a whole would invite disaster. We are barely fit to lead ourselves. A tough but fair question. I must admit the case of Amelia Earhart sometimes keeps me up at night. 'Tis safer if the rule is strict, but if you wanted to make an exception or two, I could live with that. But no one from the other societies. They are all dangerous in their own way. Exceptionally so, but the pragmatists are different. It is evident that the facility is decaying. It is both unsustainable and unwise for us to fix and maintain the status quo. Our community must be weaned off the machines, learn how to build, grow, and govern ourselves, allowed to raise families so we can pass our lessons to the next generation, and to die when our allotted time is finished. One day we will be worthy of going to the stars. We are just not there yet. Yes, and Not to be indelicate, not for lack of try. Are we even human in this state? We have no future, only the past. Do not listen to passion. Genghis can be very persuasive, but he's a fool. In some sense, we are an abomination. A science project made for unknown ends and with uncertain results. Once we are fully human, fully self-reliant, then we should be allowed to join the settled systems. You have no idea how profoundly grateful I am to hear that.
Go to the facility and see what can be done.
Listen, it's not safe to talk here. It's about Roosevelt. There's something you need to know. Not here. If he found out I'm even talking to you about this... Thank you. There's a, well, cave just outside town. No chance of us being listened in on. Please, come as quick as you can. Ideally, before you go to the facility. You came. I just can't take a chance. These clones, they're psychotic, crazy. If they find out, I'm sorry. I just can't take the chance. You're just too smart. I'm not Wyatt Earp. I wish. God, how I wish I was. I was cloned off a monster. America's first serial killer. H.H. Holmes. He was a deranged lunatic on old Earth. In the 1890s, he owned a hotel. He'd lure people there in this crazy hotel with all sorts of terrible rooms. But I'm not him. You gotta believe me. It's like a living nightmare. If you go to the facility, I know you'd find out who I am. And if you let any of these bloodthirsty maniacs know, they'd kill me. But no, that wouldn't be the end. Every time my new clone would appear, death, torture, pure hell. I'm afraid it's you or me. I'm going to kill you. I really, really don't. Besides Ada and maybe Amelia. You're the nicest person I've met. But the other clones, they would tear me apart. Don't you see? They're the monsters. I just don't want to be tortured like that. Please, please forgive me. A few of the old-timers know I used to go by Bill Hickok. I mean, I had to make up a story. I always used to read the dime novels, and I figured I knew enough about Wild Bill and Wyatt to pull it off. I just had no way of knowing what my previous life had picked. So I played dumb. But Roosevelt is a crafty one. I just don't see a way out. Wyatt Earp was a hero. Maybe I can. I don't want to die. I want to believe you. I do. I'm gonna trust you, okay? Just don't tell anyone. This never happened.
Thanks for taking time to chat. I really need a friendly ear right about now. I received a message from Constellation, and it's given me a lot to think about. No. I wish it was that simple. It's not from Barrett specifically. It's a line list of questions they need answered. Only I'm not there to answer them. No, it's the first time. But the fact that they're reaching out, well, it's given me a lot to think about. You're not keeping me out here. I am. Just... Here, let me explain. Before I joined Constellation, I served for 8 years as the head of the Navigator Corps. until the UC decided to axe the department. It was a branch of the United Colonies Navy, a small fleet of ships outfitted for galactic exploration. Basically, a military version of Constellation. If you want to help, I feel like I need to give you some background. Just bear with me. Had we notched some significant achievements, I'd agree with you. You see, the top brass demanded press-worthy discoveries to justify the spending, and money was tight after the war. Shutdown was inevitable. At the end of the day, I was in charge, so the blame obviously fell on my shoulders. Oh, like hell I can't. You once told me that you favored the journey over the destination. So I'm hoping you'll understand what I'm trying to say. I failed because I was more concerned about exploring the stars than pushing a pencil. If I had fought harder, I'm convinced our division may have had a chance to prove its value. That depends on your definition of significant. Discover a rare neutron star, and no one cares. But slap a picture of a kooky alien life form on SSNN, and suddenly you're a goddamn rock star. It's all about the propaganda, what gets the people excited. That's what the United Colonies was focused on at the time. That's just it, though. This was as far from the military as you could get. Ships built for exploration, not war. And I still screwed it all up. Yes, maybe. Call it whatever you want. My drive, my initiative, my optimism. It's been my greatest strength and my worst nightmare. It elevates me to these positions of authority, but all I want to do is explore, not sit and make sure all the accounts are balanced. Yes, exactly. If it's obvious to you, imagine how obvious it is to someone like Barrett or Mateo. Oh, they must be itching to replace me by now. God damn it. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. Oh, here you are trying to help me and I'm yelling at you. You have to understand. Once Aja retired, I lost the only person that gave a damn. Of course you do. I'm just not thinking straight right now. Phew, this has taken a lot out of me, so maybe we should just leave things right here. But thank you for being there and listening. It helped. It really did.
Genghis and the renegades will be the death of us, unless we stand firm. We are not 100% sure, but I have a theory. The facility has been unreliable as long as I've been alive. My guess is that they are historical figures that just didn't get a proper education. Who's to say what Julius Caesar actually looked like? Or some modern person of note that we wouldn't even know about? Whoever they are, though, they are as smart and capable as the ones that know their identity. My feelings about my namesake are complicated. He was a great but flawed human being. On one hand, he guided a country through the ravages of depression and war admirably. He tirelessly fought to improve the lives of the poor and disadvantaged. But as a husband, he was unfaithful. And as a colleague, he was a consummate politician, which is sometimes good, often distasteful. He was truly a great man, and I must confess, I am proud to share his heritage. We are unnaturally dependent on the machines of the facility for every aspect of our society. The
pragmatists seek to take the reins of power ourselves. We will cultivate, work, and govern for ourselves. Perhaps, once we have demonstrated that we can govern ourselves well, we can try and bring our leadership to the settled systems. But to do so too early, I fear, courts disaster. Let me see. You have no idea what a reassurance it is to learn even these hints of our past. It sounds like the facility is in ruins, but perhaps the restricted section is intact? Think of the answers it must contain, and perhaps a way to help us become self-sufficient. But there is no security override code here. I would know. Think. To think that Crucible was not our first home. And Genghis Khan destroyed it. I have told people time and time again that the renegades will be the death of us all. And they already were once. The only thing clear to me is despite the facility's efforts, we haven't grown at all. Embarrassingly so. And most are too busy jockeying for position to delve behind the thin lies the facility told them. We all assumed that we arrived via spaceship. But knowing we did, and knowing it was called the Galathea, it sates a need I did not know I even had. Galathea's sister ship. Yes, if it can be found. Certainly, they had the capability of going into the heart of the facility. If anyone can figure a manner of locating the Beagle, it's Ada Lovelace. I'll radio her and explain the situation. I'm sure she will make every effort to assist.
I hear you share the secrets of the facility with someone else. Have a care, outsider. Roosevelt and the pragmatists vex us. True, they do help us try and maintain the facility, but they deny the mission. Such hubris. We were sent here for a reason. Why can't they see that? And Genghis and the renegades are little more than brigands spoiling for a fight. They would destroy everything if it meant they could be unleashed on the galaxy. Clearly, none of them will ever reach their potential. I am her reborn. Many here scoff at reincarnation. But why? It has been a belief of people from the earliest of times. Why is it so unimaginable it can happen? When I dream, I smell the sands of Africa. I see the vaunted Roman legions with their prickly spear walls. And I see and taste the blood. Both ours and theirs. I am Queen Amanirinas. And I am she who even the conquerors fear.
So we did come from a spaceship. Of course we did. And there's another out there? What was the Beagle? Why did she and the Galathea part? But all of that in time. First, we must find her. She's not in this star system. I would have spotted her. I've studied the celestial bodies for years. No trace of a spaceship in orbit here or around the other planets. The radio telescope. It has a default position. It resets every morning. I always wondered, why point at Bell 5? Petty frustration I've dealt with for years. Perhaps the facility looks for her sister. Yes, it makes sense. I can send you the coordinates. The Bell Star system is not far. The facility communicates via a secure frequency. When you arrive, tune into that.
Oh, thank God you're here. Genghis has issued an ultimatum. He will attack the Pragmatist Society with everything he's got, unless you meet with him. I fear Amanirinas is siding with him too.
We are on the brink of war. A war I will not shrink from. Not when we are so close to victory.
Doubtful. Genghis and I have a long history, always at cross purposes. But worryingly, Amon-Arenas may be with him. It's possible we can convince her to back down.
He knows you have seen the facility. And if you have been there, then anything is possible.
So he threatens violence to ensure his voice is heard. I will send a message. We are meeting under flag of truce, something sacred to us. So, no matter how much he vexes you, keep your gun holstered.
The outsider. Franklin.
Amon-Arenas, Genghis, I had hoped we would not be meeting like this after so short a respite from war.
You drove us here, Franklin. Did you think we would let the outsider just hand the pragmatist victory? Stranger, if you do not change your course, there will be none of the pragmatists alive to help. You want peace? Then let the renegades go free. Roosevelt can do whatever he wants with the others.
This is not what we agreed, Genghis. Only those who have passed the test can leave Crucible.
This is my test. Here and now. And I intend to pass it. In blood, if I have to. If you let us leave Crucible, then the pragmatists can do whatever they want here. With my blessings.
Under no circumstances can I agree to that. Genghis specifically should never, ever leave this planet.
So there it is. It is spite. That is why the great Franklin Delano Roosevelt drives Crucible to ruin. To deny me my own chance to live in the settled systems.
Your namesake was a plague upon the world. Arguably the greatest butcher in human history. If there was even a fraction of a chance I would be unleashing that upon the stars, I would do anything in my power to stop it. I know Crucible is a small town, really, but over the decades, he has caused such misery and destruction, even here. I just cannot take a chance with something so large at stake. Genghis, I will never let you, or the others, leave this planet. But perhaps your children, they would be blameless. Marry someone, build a life.
You cannot bargain with the point of a sword. Either pledge to let us go now, or there will be battle. I do not fear it.
We are at an impasse. I am sorry. I tried. Perhaps you are right. Amon-Arenas. The facility and its test and mission are flawed, broken. We all know it. And if you are allowed to author that test, then you control us all.
So the answer is we are all imprisoned here? You leave us no choice but to join the renegades and end your society.
20 years.
What?
We have to stand on our own 2 feet to earn a chance at freedom. So let the outsider reprogram the facility, and for 20 years we work together to make Crucible truly ours. And after, we institute a test, which we both author with mutual veto power, and any who pass may leave.
Do not let the politician cloud your head with pretty words.
You think I would accept this? We have been going in circles for so long.
We could kill them all, and then we could dictate any terms we like.
I only lead my people to battle when I must. Do you promise, Mr. Roosevelt, a fair test? One that we can pass in our lifetime?
I will not make it easy, but it will be, as you say, fair.
No! Amon Arenas, this is a trick!
Roosevelt has done many things that infuriate me. But his honor, I have never had to question. The believers will not fight. Let the gods decide which of you is right. I think you have the makings of a fine ruler yourself.
You will regret this, Amon Arenas. Mightily. Then we will meet on the field of battle. The heavens will judge who is worthy.
So be it. We have fortified the society, but this will never end until Genghis is dead. He is the linchpin. If you take him out, I know an armistice can be reached. Yes. But that is on their heads, not ours. In his every incarnation, he has brought misery to us. Let us deal with him one last time. It is over. Why does it always come down to force? I hope your settled systems has truly learned from the past. Clearly, we have not. To be a leader, a true leader, you must make terrible choices, and then live with them. If it is any consolation, they gave us no choice.
Please, go to the facility and make it so that it will obey my instructions, so we can finally grow as a people.